From translation, NKJV New King James Version. This 72nd day of the year. Today we are reading passages Joshua 9 to 11. Joshua chapter 9, verses 1 to 27. Now it came to pass when all the kings who were on this side of the Jordan, in the hills and in the lowland, and in all the coasts of the great sea toward Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, heard of it, that they gathered together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. But when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they worked craftily, and went and pretended to be ambassadors. And they took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, old and mended sandals on their feet, and old clothes on themselves. And all the bread of their provision was dry and mouldy. And they went to Joshua to the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, We have come from a far country. Now therefore make a covenant with us. Then the men of Israel said to the Hivites, Perhaps you dwell among us. How then can we make a covenant with you? But they said to Joshua, We are your servants. And Joshua said to them, Who are you, and where do you come from? And they said to him, Your servants have come from a very far country, because of the name of the Lord your God. For we have heard of his fame, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. Therefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spoke to us, saying, Take provisions with you for the journey, and go meet them, and say to them, We are your servants, therefore now make a covenant with us. This our bread was hot for our food, when we took it for our provisions from our houses on the day we came out to go to you. But now see, it is dry and mouldy. And these wineskins which we filled were new, and see, they are torn. And these our clothes and sandals are worn out from the very long journey. Then the men of Israel took some of their provisions, but they did not ask counsel from the mouth of the Lord. So Joshua made peace with them, and made a covenant with them to let them live, and the leaders of the congregation swore to them. And it happened at the end of 3 days, after they had made a covenant with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they dwelt among them. Then the children of Israel journeyed and came on the 3rd day to their cities, Gibeon, Chephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath-Jearim. But the children of Israel did not attack them, because the leaders of the congregation had sworn to them by the Lord God of Israel. And all the congregation complained against the leaders. Then all the leaders said to the whole congregation, We have sworn to them by the Lord God of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. This we will do to them. We will let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore to them. And the leaders said to them, Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water-bearers for all the congregation, as the leaders had promised them. Then Joshua called for them, and he spoke to them, saying, Why have you deceived us, saying, We are very far from you, when you dwell among us? Now therefore you are cursed, and you shall never cease from being servants, both woodcutters and water-bearers for the house of my God. And they answered Joshua and said, Because your servant was certainly commanded by the Lord your God to give you into this hand, and to destroy you, and he has shown mercy on us. Therefore our hearts did not wait for mercy, but you have dwelt in the land in deceit until now. And now they said, Behold, we are in your hand, do as it seems good and right to do to us. So he did to them, and delivered them from the hand of the children of Israel, so that they did not kill them. And Joshua made them that day woodcutters and water-bearers for the congregation, and for the altar of the Lord to this day, in the place which he would choose. Joshua chapter 10, verses 1 to 43. Now it came to pass when Adonizedek king of Jerusalem heard how Joshua had taken Ai, and had utterly destroyed it, for he had done to Ai and its king, as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel, and were among them, that he feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were mighty. Therefore Adonizedek king of Jerusalem sent to Hoham king of Hebron, to Piram king of Jarmuth, to Japhia king of Lachish, and to Debir king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, that we may attack Gibeon, for it has made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered together and went up. They and all their armies camped before Gibeon and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, Do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly, save us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your hand. Not one of them shall be able to stand before you. Joshua therefore came upon them suddenly, having marched all night from Gilgal. And the Lord routed them before Israel, delivered them into the hand of Israel, and they defeated them from Jibon to Azekah, and pursued them along the road that goes to Beit Horon. And they struck them down as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it happened, as they fled before Israel and were on the descent of Beit Horon, that the Lord cast down large hailstones from heaven on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than the children of Israel killed with the sword. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still over Jibon, and moon, in the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. And there has been no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. But these 5 kings fled and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was told Joshua, saying, The 5 kings have been found hidden in a cave at Makkedah. Joshua said, Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and set men by it to guard them. And do not stay, but pursue your enemies, and attack their rear guard. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for the Lord your God has delivered them into your hand. Then Joshua and all Israel with him returned to Makkedah and attacked it. And they attacked it with the sword, utterly destroying all that was in it. Let none escape. And he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua said, Open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those 5 kings to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought out those 5 kings to him from the cave: the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. So it was, when they brought out those kings to Joshua, that Joshua called for all the men of Israel, and said to the captains of the men of war who went with him, Come forward, put your feet on the necks of these kings. And they came forward and put their feet on their necks. Then Joshua said to them, Do not be afraid or dismayed, be strong and of good courage, for thus the Lord will do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And afterward Joshua struck and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees, and they were hanging on the trees until evening. So it was at the time of the going down of the sun that Joshua commanded, and they took them down from the trees, cast them into the cave where they had been hidden, and laid large stones against the mouth of the cave, which remain to this very day. On that day Joshua took Makkedah, and struck it and its king with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying all that breathed. He let none remain, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah, and all Israel with him, to Libnah, and they fought against Libnah. And the Lord delivered it also and its king into the hand of Israel. Then they struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He let none remain, and he did to the king of Libnah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua passed from Libnah, and all Israel with him, to Lachish. And they encamped against it and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, and he took it on the 2nd day, and struck it, and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Horam king of Jezer came up to help Lachish, and Joshua struck him and his people, until he left none remaining. And from Lachish Joshua passed to Eglon, and all Israel with him. And they encamped against it and fought against it. And they took it on that day, and struck it with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying all that breathed, as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua went up from Eglon, and all Israel with him, to Hebron, and they fought against it. And they took it and struck it with the edge of the sword, the king, all the cities, and all the people who were in it. He let none remain, according to all that he had done to Eglon, and utterly destroyed it and all that breathed. Then Joshua turned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and they fought against it. And he took it and its king and all its cities, and they struck them with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying all that breathed. He left none remaining. As he had done to Hebron, so he did to Debir, to its king, and to all its cities. So Joshua conquered all the land, the mountain country, the south, the lowland, the eastern slopes, the wilderness, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel had commanded. And Joshua conquered them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even to Jibon. All these kings and their lands Joshua took at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Joshua chapter 11, verses 1 to 23. It came to pass when Jabin king of Hazor heard these things, that he sent to Jobab king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, to the king of Atshaph, and to the kings who were from the north. In the mountains, in the land of Mizpah, in the south, in the lowland, in the heights of Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and in the west, to the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites in the mountains, and to the Hivites below Hermon in the land of Mizpah. So they went out, they and all their armies with them, as many people as the sand that is on the seashore in multitude, with very many horses and chariots. And when all these kings had met together, they came and camped together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver all of them slain before Israel. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire." So Joshua and all the people of war with him came suddenly against them by the waters of Merom, and they attacked them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who defeated them and chased them to a great distance toward Zidon, to Misrephoth-Maim, and to the valley of Mizpah on the east. They attacked them until none remained, and Joshua did to them as the Lord had commanded him. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor, and struck its king with the sword. For Hazor was formerly the head of all those kingdoms. And they struck all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was none left breathing. Then he burned Hazor with fire. So all the cities of those kings, and all their kings, Joshua took and struck with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded. But as for the cities that stood on their mounds, Israel burned none of them, except Hazor only, which Joshua burned. And all the spoil of these cities and the cattle, the children of Israel took as spoil for themselves. But they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they left none breathing. As the Lord had commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. Thus Joshua took all this land, the mountain country, all the south, all the land of Goshen, the lowland, the Arabah, the mountains of Israel, and the lowland of the same, from Mount Halak in the ascent to Seir, even as far as Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and struck them and killed them. Joshua made war for a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Jibon. All others they took in battle, for it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might receive no mercy, but that he might destroy them, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And at that time Joshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. None of the Anakim were left in the land of the children of Israel. They remained only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. So Joshua took the whole land, according to all that the Lord had said to Moses. And Joshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel, according to their divisions by their tribes. Then the land had rest from war.